Hi, I'm Richard Griot, and I'm standing in front, or actually behind if you're watching the TV, Michael Schumacher's F2000 chassis number 203 that won the Canadian Grand Prix, second in Hungary, and then Barrichello drove it at Indy and heck, another race. I can't remember right now, but anyway. So chassis 203 was part of two or three other cars or chassis that Schumacher drove in the year 2000. And Ferrari had not won a championship since 1979. So they went from 1979 all the way to the year 2000 and hadn't won a driver's title since then. So the difference is 1979 you had a flat 12 3-liter. This is a V10 780 horsepower 3-liter engine. And it just howls like you can't believe. Not like the other F1 cars that you hear today that sound like a monkey fart. These actually were the last of those super high revving, 18,000 RPM is with what they were limited to. Pneumatic valves, so the valves could open at that rate. And so technical tour de force that Ferrari really put it all together from 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 5 years in a row, Michael Schumacher won the drivers and the world championship for Ferrari. So what's it like? What's it like driving a modern day Formula One car? Well, I had that opportunity for my birthday. I think I was 49 or so at the time, and bought this car literally at a fire sale, shipped it down to the Ferrari factory for them to look at it, because that was part of the deal, just make sure, hey, it ran. We looked at all the chassis records, so I knew how many hours were in the engine. And so they made it roadworthy, and part of their Cliente program is that a common guy like me can go to the Ferrari factory and you get to be Michael Schumacher for a day. So I like to say I've had 5 awesome days in my life. The first 4 were watching my children being born, and the 5th was driving Schumacher's car on the Fiorino test track there. An incredible, incredible experience. Your first experience there is that you are approaching the gate. There's a back gate that they tell you to go to. You get your lanyard and you meet them at the Shell garage. There's literally 10 Italian mechanics all fussing over the thing. It's up on air jacks. It's just overwhelming. I mean, you already feel your heart rate as you go through the gate, just expanding and just really beating fast. And so they give you a small briefing. They tell you to go over to that shack, which is the dressing room. This shack, it's not really a shack, it's where every Formula One driver has changed into their driving overalls or driving suit. And so when you walk into this room, there's 1, 2, 3, and they're lockers. And when I was there, Alonso was the #1 driver. And so it's like you're inside this hollowed ground, and where Lauda and Gilles Villeneuve and Kimi and Alonso and Vettel today all put on their driving shoes on this little bench and their overalls, and then you leave the hut for the Shell garage. And that walk from there will really get your blood moving. So, as you can see, you know, my driving seat is nothing more than a piece of leather because I have a very fat ass. I'm certainly not like Michael Schumacher. And the steering wheel has all these buttons on it. Well, when they strapped me in, I couldn't even see the lower half of the steering wheel because my legs were up, my chin was down, my belly was out. So I am stuffed in there, and I'm sure the mechanics were going, what the hell is this fat America sausage doing driving Michael's car? But the only thing I wanted to do is not stall the car. And so they started the engine up. It revs, seems like it's revving at 10,000 RPM, just you know, in itself on the jack stands. They lower the jack stands and push you out, and then the mechanics start walking away, and it's up to you to let the clutch out with your finger. It's right on the back of the steering wheel, so you're modulating the gas and bringing it up, and just, you know, I've seen all sorts of that Top Gear where they were driving the Williams and the guy stalled it, you know, 6 times. I said, I am not doing that. I'm not going to look like a chump in front of all these mechanics that are probably giggling, you know, behind their accents. And but got out of the pits. The thing just took off. I'd never left foot brake a car before, and so there's no clutch, obviously. And so when you finally get it up, and then, you know, the paddle going up is on your right, and the downshift is on your left. And honestly, it was one of the easiest cars I've ever driven. And I've driven a lot of different types of cars, from Can-Am, Formula One, Formula Two, sports racers, sedans, you name it. If it rolled on rubber, I probably did something. And it was just an incredible experience. The acceleration is just phenomenal. But one thing that this car does have is grip, and it was just slamming me back and forth in the cockpit. I came in, we had to put pads on either side of my shoulders, but I was trying to hold myself down with my 2 arms and just have a light grip on the wheel. And I just came out with just bruises that were about 10 inches long on both of my arms just from just getting tossed around in the car. So that goes on. We come in, you know, they're showing me where I'm lifting and where I'm not full on the throttle. I mean, duh. So that goes on for most of the day, have a little lunch break, Italian style, and then come back at it, and literally I was gassed. So the afternoon, little Italian pasta, it's the worst thing you can do. I wanted to start sleeping. So a few more, you know, run-ups, and come in, and at the end we're going, okay, I'm going to go flat out as fast as I can. And so they're going, okay, you come around the last hairpin, do not lift. What about the kink down there at the end of the straight? They said, oh, flat out, it'll go through there, just trust me. I said, well, trust you. There's snow on the ground. I'm not sure how warm the tires are, and but they just said, don't worry, she'll stick. So come around the last hairpin, flat out. We're going through that kink at 170 miles an hour. The thing just stuck like glue, and all of a sudden the braking points start coming up. My eyes get about as big as saucers, and I just start really hitting the binders at about 150 meter mark, and I was almost at a dead stop at the 100 meter mark. I thought, oh dear. So I now have to accelerate into the corner. So that was a little embarrassing. But it's probably one of the easiest cars I've ever driven from a standpoint where everything feels and fits right. It's the most brutal car on the body that you can imagine, and you just have to be in insane shape. At the end, I was only getting 4 laps in, and my heart rate was probably over 200, maybe 220, and I just finally ran out of physical ability to drive the car. So I don't know how Schumacher and all those other guys do that for an hour and a half. It is an insane amount of shape that they would have to be and drive this thing. So in closing, I can just say you should sell off your kids. You should sell off your house. You should sell off every car that you have. Get rid of the significant other, cash it all in, and do that just for a day, because it is the greatest thing that you'll ever experience in your lifetime. And I had the thrill and time of my life. So anyway, I appreciate you watching it. And as we always say here at Griot's Garage, make sure to have fun in your garage.